Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy, and today I am taking a little bit of a refresher on my driving technique. I've got instructor Steve Sunby, who works for the Detroit Lakes School District, as my drive instructor, and we're going to go around and learn a few things, maybe brush up on some of my parallel parking and whatnot, and kind of go to some of these trouble spots and maybe ask the instructor what some of his pet peeves about drivers are these days.
All right, Carol, we're going to start driving today. You have 6 hours behind the wheel training, and we usually do it one of two ways. We can do it 1 hour sessions, or we can do it 2 hour sessions. And usually we do 2 hour sessions. Today what we're going to do is do a lot of turns. We're going to practice you checking your blind spot. But before that, we need to get you familiar with the inside of the car. And one of the things that you really need to do is set that outside mirror so that it try to eliminate some of the blind spots that we have. Because a lot of lane changes that people make, they usually don't check their blind spot. And then they pull out in front of a car and they didn't even know it was there.
Okay.
So the way that we do it is we want you to lean to your left and almost put your head right on the window on the side. And then move the mirror out to your left until you can see a little bit of the side of the car.
Okay.
And then when you move back and get your position behind the wheel. Now you don't see the car at all right now, do you?
Right.
Okay. So now once we start going down the road, you're going to be able to see more of your blind spot.
Okay.
This mirror, we need to have you have a little bit of the bottom of the window and then the road behind you.
Okay.
And also that's what's changed with you since Mr. Douglas gave you behind the wheel is that we now have airbags in the car.
Oh, yes.
So we have to try to eliminate, if we do have an accident, we don't want you to break your arm or your wrist with the airbag being deployed. Mm-hmm. So we want you to put your hands at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, if you think about that.
Okay.
And then do not put your thumbs like out in here somewhere.
Okay.
You can drive like that, or if that's not comfortable, you can move your hands down to like 4 and 7, somewhere in there. And that's why they make the steering wheels the way they do.
Okay.
But the old technique was put them up at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. But if you put it up there right now, just go ahead and put your hands up there. You notice that your forearms start to cover the airbag, and then that's much more dangerous.
Okay.
Then also, most steering wheels are adjustable, so you can move your wheel down. The top of the wheel should be about even with the top of your shoulders.
Okay.
So it's probably just a little bit too high.
Is that right here?
Yeah, just pull it towards you.
No.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Oh,
good.
Okay.
And then most cars have overdrive.
Okay.
So in this one, this is a Ford Taurus. So the D is highlighted. That would make it overdrive, and that's going to give us a little better gas mileage.
Okay.
So if you want to...
We're in drive.
And also, Carol, I do have a brake over here. In case you go too fast, I can always slow you down.
Nobody slows me down. Okay, here we go. I feel kind of anxious here.
Okay, we're going to do there's two parts. Actually, there's 3 kinds of parking that we do for the road test. And that's what we're preparing Carol for, is for the road test with the state, the Minnesota Department of Transportation. So the first thing she's going to do is she's going to do what we call a corner back, or a 90-degree turn. So she has to park back in between these 3 cones. The cones are 10 feet apart. She needs to be about 6 to 8 feet away from them. She's going to be a little close, and that's going to kind of cut down on her angle. It's going to be a little harder for her to back up. But
here we go. And yes, it is a little hard to back up. We drive forward.
You want to get about 6 to 8 feet to your left,
okay.
And you want to be about 6 feet past.
I'm still a little bit. I was never very good at.
This is harder than doing.
No, do most people? Now this is on your driver's test when you take it for your license, huh?
And you don't want to hit the cone. No. If it looks like you're going to hit the cone, then you stop.
Just slide in right there.
As soon as you're perpendicular to the curb, then you have to straighten your wheels. There you go. Good job, Carol. All right.
Both hands on the wheel.
All right,
Okay.
so that's the 90-degree back, or we call it corner backing.
Okay.
The other two, parking is park uphill or downhill with the curb, and the other one is parallel parking. So we're going to go over and do parallel parking now.
Okay. And parallel parking, I understand, was a little bit different than back in the day, back in the 80s.
Well, we used
When
to,
living was easy.
back in the 80s, we had cover wagons that we parked in between.
But we had really good music.
We did have. My hair was longer at that time, too. Now, you need to be 2 feet away from that front cone.
Okay.
That front cone represents a back bumper of a car.
I'm a little bit close.
So we need, and then you have to line up your back bumper with the other car's back bumper.
Okay.
So that's, you probably went a little too far.
Okay. So am I okay right now?
No?
Nope.
Go forward more. There you go. That's good.
Okay.
All right, I used the brake on you, sorry. All right, now put a reverse and turn your wheels all the way to the right. And go kind of slow there, Speed Demon. Now you're gonna watch this stick of this cone when it gets right by my head, the headrest, or by my doorpost, you stop. So about right here, you stop the car.
Okay.
Now what this has created is a 30-degree angle with this car right here, we'll call it a Suburban, and our car.
Okay.
Now you just straighten your tires. Go one more. There you go. Now go back until, this is the hard part. You go back, you watch the stick go past to where you get to the doorpost here. Then you keep the car moving and turn your wheels to the left and you move right on in.
Okay.
But just keep, you have to get back into the parking spot. A little more.
Oh.
Okay, now turn quick. Keep the car moving though, otherwise you're going to hit them. All right, and then you look behind so you don't hit that nice brand new Cadillac behind us. All right, and now you're in your parking spot.
There, okay.
Very good.
Wonderful.
All right. And we always want to be about, a foot away from the curb when we get done, and I think Carol's a foot away from the curb. I don't know if we want to look or not, but I think she's a foot away.
I aced my parallel parking back in the 80s.
Now, this parking spot is 25 feet long and 6 feet wide. So if anybody wants to practice this, and it's really good to practice because we all get kind of out of practice when we get into bad habits. You can always just set up some garbage cans or something in a place where you're not going to hit anybody and go ahead and practice your parallel parking.
Okay, or you can find a Suburban and a Cadillac somewhere and park between them.
Then we'll go to Nearson's. Yeah. I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Now, one more thing that we got to talk about before we start doing on the road.
Okay.
It's an acronym that we use. It's called SMOG. SMOG stands for, S stands for signal. Do you remember how far before your turn you're supposed to signal?
100 feet.
100 feet. Way to go. Woo. And then the M stands for checking your mirror.
Okay.
So I've signaled, I check my mirror, usually it's the rear view, this one here, and then I look over my shoulder. And looking over my shoulder, I'm trying to make sure that I look at my blind spot.
Okay.
And then everybody knows what G stands for. Go.
Go.
All right, so it's signal, mirror, look over my shoulder, and go.
Okay, signal, mirror, look over your shoulder, and go.
SMOG. And
Okay.
what I like to do with my students, I say just remember SMOG,
Okay.
and it helps.
All right, we'll head out then.
Okay.
Hey, Carol.
Huh? Okay.
Okay, Carol, to get out of this parking spot, now we have to go in reverse. Just
Okay.
back, straight back. And remember SMOG now. You want to make sure you signal and you look over your shoulder before you leave. Back, straight back. Okay, don't hit that Cadillac.
Oh,
That's pretty close.
okay.
And then we signal to the left and exit. Very good, Carol.
And we'll be back next week when we're hitting the road. That's hometown happenings for this week. I got to get my eyes on the road. I'm Carol McCarthy along with Steve Sunby. We'll see you next week.